Hey profit takers, it's Victoria here and we are back with another video. So today we're going to talk about the 3-day trade. Now usually on the third day, guys, we can either look for a continuation or we can look for a reversal. So let's take a look at one of the pairs, the dollar CAD. All right, so the dollar CAD was actually showing a it was showing a one peak formation. So we had a new peak. It was a reset. Okay. So we had a new peak low here because, we had a low on Monday. It reset on Wednesday and I took this trade long. Okay. So then Thursday, this is where I was thinking, okay, it's just going to retrace and then we're going to be able to eventually take this thing back long again. However, that did not occur and it continued to break down. And my thoughts when I woke up and saw that, I was like, okay, it's going to Monday's low, which it did. Okay. So here is Monday's low. We're going to use this area for our guide. Sometimes this thing doesn't want to work right. There we go. So it hit it perfectly. Okay. And then it went back up. So right now, guys, if this area holds, right, if this area holds, then obviously we're still going to continue to be breaking down and go short. But if it doesn't, guys, then, it's going to follow the higher time frame. Okay. Just have to kind of wait and see what price is going to do with this area here, if it's going to continue or we're going to, continue to break down. So why am I calling it a 3-day trade? Because like I said, Wednesday we had the reset to the low. So that day resets itself as 1. Thursday was 2 and then it was 3. Okay. So we had a continuation for this day based off of, price continue to break down, especially once it hit 180R. We've crossed yesterday's low and the open price. I mean, it was a great trade. Now I did take this trade. However, I did not get in early enough because I was asleep when this thing was actually, starting to break down. So I got in, if you saw my earlier video, it's probably around here, if I remember, to the low of the week. Okay. All right. So we're just going to wait to see what's going to happen come next week. Euro USD. This was another 3-day trade. This was a great one because, guys, this one actually, this was Tuesday's low. So the initial balance. Okay. The initial balance here. It was also the low of the week, 3rd-day trade, and it was a reversal. And it was such a beautiful reversal here because we had the multi-session W pattern. All right. So that was a great 3-day trade. And why was it a 3-day trade? I mean, quite frankly, we had 2 breaks. Okay. You can see here it's a peak high and it broke the low 2 times. So by the time I get to the charts, it's already hit the low and it's already starting to reverse on a major area, a major level for the week. Okay. Let's see if I can find another one. Another 3-day trade here. Let's see. I didn't trade this one today. But this was definitely a continuation for a 3-day. As you can see here, guys, we did not have any breaks, right? So the yen has a way of just continuing long for days, right? So we had the new peak low. We had the retest to the low, kind of, but it didn't, it didn't break. So that's good. Continue to hold that level. And it did not break the high on Thursday, right? So we get here on Friday, and if you had gotten in this particular pair earlier, this would have been a great entry. above yesterday's high to take this trade on up. Okay, so that was definitely a continuation, but didn't really do much, in New York. All right. So technically, guys, if this thing, it still needs to break the high, okay, for it to continue. All right, we'll see what happens on Monday. All right, we talked about Euro USD. Let's look at NZ. Oh, 2 days. And it did break a little bit, but the market closed. So I'm sure this thing will update to let us know that it did break yesterday's high. But the thing with the indicator, we have it set for a 5% break. I'm still kind of thinking about making it less so that it will actually show up, because at any time, guys, that it does hit yesterday's low, I mean, even by a little bit, it you should count it, right? So I may see about adjusting this to make it exactly to hit it once it hits yesterday's low, to count it on here. Okay. All right. Because at that point, if it would have came here, if you were able to take this trade pretty early, it would have came here and hit the low. You would have went ahead and took this thing long, right? If it took the trade from it would have been the low of the day, right? And then if you were in New York, then obviously you would have had an opportunity to take it short. But it wasn't, like I said, today was just a weird day. I didn't really care for the patterns or low volume. We did have news, right? But it wasn't really anything like it was yesterday. Okay. So it was just a nice little short, long from the low of the day, because we did get the break and it didn't, it gave us a W pattern on up. Okay. So those are the only ones, guys. Let's look at UJ. We didn't have any, it didn't show any breaks on this one either. Let's look at this on the higher time frame. All right. So day 3, again, this was a continuation, and this was a beautiful trade for the earlier. You could have got this, not the earlier session. I mean, obviously, you could have taken this long in Asia. New York, we had availability to take this trade in New York, which is great for the continuation, because guess what? Even though it didn't hit the major level, well, it did hit yesterday's high here, right? However, when it came back down to the daily low, it was just a stop hunt. Right, I didn't take this pair. I probably wouldn't have traded it if I would have saw that. But then again, if you did, I saw some people who did take this trade. Once that stop hunt happened, and you can see the W pattern, you could have got in. Let me go down to M5. Yep, you could have got in at the retest at the open. Okay. And your target was the high, pretty much, about 30 some odd pips. It's not bad. Even though it was ugly, it's an ugly pattern, it still was not a bad trade for today. All right, but the best one overall was EU, because it was such a clear pattern. And guys, this is exactly what I'm looking for when I'm trading. I want to see something that's super duper clear. Okay, just like with the dollar CAD, when I looked at that, because again, I was expecting this thing to go long today. But when I got to the charts, I was like, oh, we're not going long. This was a clear M pattern going short back to the low of the week. We had this gap here, and price always likes to, take care of all the imbalances. So yeah, this was a great pair to trade. Okay. All right, guys, that's all I have for right now. Now, I know that, we're still working on this updates to get these to you all with the new Profit Takers Alert dashboard, and we'll be getting those to you as soon as possible. If you're already a part of Locals, if you're on the email list, as soon as the update is available, you will know. I will send an email. I will post it everywhere. So with that, guys, have a great weekend, and we will see you in the next one. Ciao for now.